the video I didn't want to make, but I have to. I just burped. I'm not crying, I promise. I don't even know how the audio is going to sound on this because my car's AC is broken and I have the windows open. But hi, welcome back to Sports from My Car. I think that's what we're calling it. Episode 3, or 3. Yikes. As you may know, by the time this is being done, Portugal are out of the World Cup. My team, as you can tell by my jersey, you can tell by my car. They're out. So is Argentina. So on one day, we saw Ronaldo and Messi leave the World Cup at the same time. It's pretty nuts. I'm heartbroken, obviously, for my team to be out. Congratulations to Uruguay. Uruguay played very well. They played their game, defense, counterattack, and Cavani is a hell of a player who I don't think he ever gets maybe enough credit for. It's just a little loud, that's fine. I've always said I don't feel like Edinson Cavani ever gets the rightful props for how good a player he really is. And he truly is a great player. I mean, a guy who has scored 40 goals a year almost. It sounds crazy to say that he never gets the credit, but he was by far Uruguay's most deadliest player, as well as their one midfielder. I can't really remember his name. Suarez made great passes, but he's also... Suarez is what makes football look awful. The guy is such a diver. He's such a baby. I don't even want to talk about Suarez from this game. As for Portugal, it's very disappointing, obviously, after winning the Euro 2 years ago. And, you get that taste of glory, and it's the only thing you'll accept. And that's why I said that Portugal winning the Euro Cup was the biggest blessing and curse that could have ever happened for Portuguese fans, because we have never had international success. And now we've got it once, and it's all we are ever going to want again. And it's tough because, you go out in this tournament where you played 3 games with Spain, Morocco, and Iran, where it wasn't the best that I've ever seen Portugal play, but you still managed to get the results. You had the 2 draws and the win, which, were good. And then you play today against a team like Uruguay, who they play a lot like us, that defensive style. And they win, and we played great. I felt it was one of the best games I had seen a majority of the team play in a long time, and we don't get the win, and it's really tough. It sucks. It really sucks. But again, congratulations to Uruguay. They pulled out the victory, and that's what I always said. This is a game that it's about getting the results, and Uruguay did exactly that. They had their 2 big chances. They had 3 with the free kick from Suarez. But their 2 biggest chances, Cavani puts both away and buries it. Portugal didn't create too many huge chances. You could question again the officiating at the end, not calling that foul on Quaresma, and then the handball again. This VAR thing sucks. Honestly, it's garbage. Review everything. If you can't pick and choose, because that was a handball at the end, but I'm not going to cry over spilt milk because the game is over. And it sucks. Like I said, it's just garbage. It was the exact same play that Iran got a penalty for, Nigeria didn't get a penalty for, and now Portugal does it. It's too inconsistent. Argentina and France, what a game. 4-3. It finished because Aguero got that 90th minute winner, or 90th minute goal to make it by 1. What a game, man. That game was just non-stop, back and forth, and then you had a golazo from Di Maria, and then a golazo from the French defender. That game was just all over the map. It was incredible. Kudos to France. France is a team I have doing very well in this tournament. But the thing is, all the big teams have looked exposed at some point in this tournament. France today looked very exposed on defense against an Argentina team who hasn't really scored a lot of goals, even though they should be. Portugal and Uruguay today, we finally cracked that defense, and realistically, we had a lot of damage on crosses and corner kicks, which is crazy because Uruguay had not given up a goal all tournament, and they've scored all their goals except for today off set pieces. So you would imagine on corners and stuff they would be very strong. But we were creating and getting a lot of chances from whipping the ball in. So I got to see if France is going to do that, because I felt like anytime we tried to go up the middle, Godin and Jimenez were great. So it's going to be a big test for Griezmann and Giroud. Down the wings, I think France will find success against Uruguay. They got to stop playing 4-3-3 in my opinion. I always liked when they did that 4-2-3-1. Like, I feel like a player, I know he's not there, like a Martial would have been huge for France against Uruguay, because you could beat them on the left and right. It's breaking down that middle and finding an open pass is so hard to do against them. It's obviously easier said than done, so we'll see if France can do that. You know, it sucks. Portugal's gone, like I said, and you know, especially when you expect and you're just a fan of the team, you always want the best and you always think of the best, and then when the worst hits, it's heartbreaking essentially. My only thing is I want for the rest of the tournament the officiating to be consistent. Both games there was questionable calls. It has to be much better as the tournament goes on. It's been a joke. I feel like now they're relying on VAR, and then now they're not even using VAR for the right reasons. It's shambles right now. But, you know, congratulations to both teams. They're going on. I think France will beat Uruguay. As long as they play a little bit creative on the wings, I don't think they'll have any issue breaking down Uruguay. The way Conte is playing, and I wouldn't even really say Pogba. I would say Conte alone should be able to shut down Cavani or Suarez, and it's a matter of how healthy is Cavani. He left the game injured. Looked like it could have just been a pulled muscle or something, but I think Conte alone, like I said, will be more than enough with Umtiti and Varane to be able to shut down Cavani and Suarez, so we'll see with that. I don't, like, NHL, we're waiting to see where Tavares goes. I think he's going to the Leafs, in all honesty. This is kind of a quick one just because I just want to gather my thoughts. Like, Portugal lost. It's awful, awful, awful. I'm accepting it. You know, it happens. You can't win everything. But, yeah, okay. Let's talk a little bit about hockey. Let's move away from the World Cup, because basically that was it. 2 games happened. Portugal got hit hard on the counterattack. Uruguay scored. We couldn't crack their defense. Game over. France and Argentina, like I said, game of the tournament maybe, other than the Portugal-Spain game. Very entertaining. Goals after goals. And like I said, 4-3 after Argentina went up 2-1. It was a lot of fun, definitely. So let's go look. Hockey. John Tavares. Expected decision maybe today or tomorrow. They don't really know yet. And we'll see where JT goes. I'm honestly leading towards, I think he goes to the Leafs, which is crazy to me because now they're going to have Tavares and Matthews if that is the case. If it's not the Leafs for any reason, I think he's going to stay in Long Island. I know San Jose was making a big push, but they just announced the contract for, what's his name? Logan Couture, 8 years, $8 million, something like that. So I feel like that was them kind of slowly dropping out of Tavares' race. Yeah, we'll see where JT goes. And I think when JT makes his move and announces where he's going, the dominoes are going to fall. I think by this time tomorrow, being July 1st at like 6:30 in the afternoon/night, I think if the Tavares decision is announced, I think you might have the Ryan O'Reilly trade happen, which they're saying it's looking like St. Louis and Montreal. I think it's going to be St. Louis. And I know that, so there are talks that there's a couple scenarios that I've read and I've seen that it could be O'Reilly to St. Louis, and a part of the deal, Buffalo could package Alex Nylander, and they could get, or they were asking for a first and second round pick, as well as Rob Thomas, who's one of their top prospects, so we'll see. The other one that they were saying was Buffalo might package Nylander and maybe Zach Bogosian if St. Louis would want him. He's very injury prone because they want Colton Parayko. The Sabres want Parayko. So, It's going to be interesting. I love Canada Day, July 1st for hockey, because it's free agency, trade market opens back up because after the draft. I mean, like, there's still trades, but I feel like everything, it's after the first domino falls. Quickly, some other notes they were saying was Thomas Vanek was in talks to go back to the Red Wings, it looks like. Said he really enjoyed his time in Detroit, so he might be looking to go back to the Red Wings. Couple other guys here and there. I know they said Michael Grabner was talking to quite a few teams, which I mean makes sense. He's a free agent. They were saying Vancouver was looking at getting grittier and bigger. So now that raises the question to me. There was talks about Edmonton possibly trying to get rid of Lucic. And I wonder if, Vancouver maybe will take on a salary dump if them and Edmonton would work out a trade. I think that'd be pretty nuts. I don't see the lure in Lucic anymore. The game has changed so much that I don't feel like he's that relevant a player, considering I think he makes, $5 million on his cap, something along that line. So I don't really see any use for Lucic really anywhere unless you're getting another player, almost like what the Sabres did in the Hunwick and Connor Sheary trade. Like, the trade was for Connor Sheary, but we took Hunwick as a cap dunk off of Pittsburgh so that they could sign Jack Johnson. Which, obviously, a lot of questions still. Why didn't they try to use the cap elsewhere instead of kind of just settling and taking Johnson? He might work out there. Who knows? But we'll definitely see. It's going to be interesting. I am sweating. And, my AC being broken on my car is, the worst thing in the world right now. I'm very excited, though, for July 1st. I think it's going to be a crazy day. I think we're going to get a big trade. If not on the 1st, within the next week, I think we'll get that trade for O'Reilly between, I'm going to say, St. Louis or Montreal. I think JT is either staying in New York or he's going to sign for the Leafs and he's going to come home to Toronto because that's where he's from. Or, yeah, he's from around the area. And it's going to be crazy. If the Leafs land him, I know they might be in a little bit of cap issue where maybe they're going to have to move a Marner or a Nylander. But the Leafs, we'll talk about them for a bit. So JT, if Tavares signs there, again, it's if, nothing is official. If JT signs in Toronto, they still need defense. They have Morgan Riley. I know you have Timothy Lindgren, who you're very kind of keen on growing, but he might be another year out. I would say, yeah, we'll say another year out to be safe. After Lindgren, you don't have many defensive prospects. Jake Gardner's not going to do it for you. We know that. Defensively, Gardner is not great. And then there's not much there for the Leafs on D. So, you're going to have high scoring, which maybe they're going to just try to win games that way, is hope Freddie Anderson absolutely stands on his head and then you can just score more goals than the other team does. It's a bold approach, but it could work. Or if they do trade Nylander or Marner, I'm sure they could fetch a defenseman from a team who has an abundance of them. I'll just throw out names like Carolina, Anaheim, who have a ton of defensemen there. It's interesting because Anaheim, Brandon Montour is going to be an RFA. There's been talks for a long time about Carolina maybe moving on from Justin Falk if they got the right offer. So we'll see. Toronto's in an interesting spot right now, especially if they do sign JT and what the contract is, because there's a lot of talk about Tavares' contract. So if he wanted to sign 8 years with the Islanders, which is the max, he had to do it. I think he has to do it today by midnight. If not, he can only sign a 7-year with the Islanders or with anyone else, because then he's unrestricted. So the rumor was that the Leafs might give him a 1-year deal worth almost the max, which is 15 mil. Something around there, something bizarre and crazy. And the reason they're doing that is because then they could sign Matthews next year and then sign Tavares to an 8-year deal. But they're saying there was some hesitation from the Tavares camps because the possibility of injury. If he has a bad injury after signing a 1-year deal and barely plays, the Leafs aren't going to want to sign him to a full 8 years worth $10 to $12 million, of course. So, he would rather get that contract in full now, knowing that he has that kind of security, which it makes sense from a player's point of view and it makes sense from a team point of view. So, I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to see where Tavares goes, as much as I do not like the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it would be absolutely wild if he went there, because obviously, again, your first line, you could have Tavares and maybe Marner, and then the second line have Matthews and Nylander. It's going to be a fun ride tomorrow, and it might all kick off tonight. I know they've said already. Robin Lehner was in talks to go to Detroit. Carter Hutton is signing with the Sabres. Cam Ward is signing with the Chicago Blackhawks. That's all going to be made official tomorrow on Canada Day. Yeah, other than that, I sit back and enjoy the show. I'm definitely going to be watching and enjoying, and I'm sure I'll do a video as the signings do come in. That should be really exciting. And I'm interested because it's a lot of times where you see some teams take shape and see how they're going to be going into next year, and you could already get a rough idea of, some teams' intentions. Some teams you might look at, and they might already be saying, hey, this guy's going to junior, we're letting this guy go, that and that, and then you kind of get the feeling, okay, maybe this team's looking to rebuild, maybe this team is looking to make an actual push, and I think a lot of that starts tomorrow with what a lot of teams are going to do. And it's exciting times in the world of the NHL. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy Brazil, Mexico, I think is tomorrow, which should be an awesome game. I keep saying I think that game's going to be great. So enjoy the rest of the World Cup. Enjoy the NHL free agent market as well. Other thing, I said I wouldn't really talk about NBA just because it's not my strong suit, and usually, unless it's breaking news, the early odds right now is that LeBron James is signing in LA. I would guess for the Lakers, not the Clippers. I think they just traded DeAndre Jordan, or they're trying to ship off DeAndre Jordan as well. He's in LA apparently now. Apparently he already has a place in LA. And they said the betting odds are ridiculously crazy on him signing with the Lakers, which is crazy because this is where that Lakers could rebuild kind of that dynasty, which has faded away since Kobe Bryant became much older. So we'll see. I'm excited too to see where LeBron goes. I think the next couple of days are going to be very heavy in the sports world, and it's going to shake up the NBA. It's going to shake up the NHL, because with the NBA too, you got to look, where's Kawhi Leonard going to go? Is he going to be traded? Which I think they're leaning more and more that San Antonio's finally just giving up. I'm going to trade the guy, and then that leads to where Paul George is going to go. And just everyone else. You know what? It's going to be a fun, exciting couple days for the NBA and the NHL as well. So make sure you keep locked that, and keep locked here on my YouTube channel at Andrew RFC. I forgot my own name for a sec. And I'll be giving you guys updates as I know them, or as I'm in my car, or even when I'm at home, just to kind of have some fun with it. And we'll probably look over some rosters and everything else in the coming days. But yeah, I'm going to cut it there. Like I said, I think I covered everything with the World Cup, NBA, and the NHL going on right now. Nothing is official with Tavares or LeBron, but it's looking like LeBron could be heading to LA in some capacity, and John Tavares to either Toronto or staying in Long Island. They said it looks like San Jose is out of the race, so it's looking like it's down to a two-horse team. He's going to probably make a decision tonight or tomorrow morning. And then JT Watch will officially be all said and done. Why you breaking? Why you creeping? Alright, boys and gals. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe, leave a thumbs up. It's been your boy, Andrew RFC. Peace, much love. Take care. Bye-bye.